Season 12 is finally here, and the Rebel Warlord is ready to drop into Olympus and cause some mayhem. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Valued, and today we're finally gonna go over the newest addition to Apex Legends, Mad Maggie. She's an aggressive pick who wants to get up in the faces of her enemies. And by the end of this video, every single legend in the game will be shuddering when they see you pushing in, ready to demolish their squad. First, let's talk about her abilities, starting off with her tactical Riot Drill. I love this ability, as it's great at pushing enemies out of cover. Maggie fires a drill that attaches to the first target it hits, unleashing flames on the other side. Think of this as more of a concentrated thermite that you can use to burn enemies on the other side of basically any object. Keep in mind, the thicker the object, the less distance the damage will travel. So, if you throw it on a big box, it won't reach as far on the other side as if you were using it on a slim wall. Riot Drill does 160 damage over a few seconds, basically forcing enemies to choose between dying depending on their armor or moving to a different position. We'll talk about some really cool uses for this later in the video. Maggie's passive, Warlord's Ire, allows her to highlight enemies she damages and move faster with shotties. The scan only lasts for about a second after the damage ends, but it applies to her abilities and her bullets. This is really helpful as it gives extra info when your abilities land and lets you predict enemy movement a little bit better while in your gunfights. The movement speed buff when using shotties allows Maggie to move at the same speed you normally would with your fists out, which allows her to move at max speed while still being combat ready. Maggie's ultimate is Wrecking Ball, and as the name suggests, she throws out a spiked ball to rip towards enemies, leaving speed pads behind its path. The ball deals 20 damage if it impacts an enemy, knocking them back. The speed boost it leaves behind also boosts you or your squad's move speed by 30%, allowing you to charge in to clean up after the ball of destruction does its job. Keep in mind, this ability will bounce off any sort of walls, creating havoc in tight spaces or finding enemies at unsuspecting angles. And guys, whether you're looking to master Mad Maggie or any other part of your game, make sure to head over to ProGuides.com to get some coaching from a top level player. These are some of the best players in the world, waiting on deck to help you identify your weaknesses and work towards becoming a better player. If you're ready to level up here at the start of Season 12, there's no better time, so make sure to check it out in the top link in the description below. With Maggie's abilities out of the way, let's talk about her playstyle. Her entire kit focuses on getting into enemies' faces, forcing them to instantly retreat and give up ground or take the brunt of her aggression. Her tactical can force enemies playing safe to mix up their positioning or allow her to soften up enemies who she's looking to push. It's pretty shocking to start taking tons of damage while you think you're safe on the other side of a wall. Combine this with her scanning and it really forces you to back off heavily if you need to heal or hold your ground and answer the aggression. My favorite part about this ability is it can be used on Gibby's bubble. That's right, ladies and gents, we finally have something to help us out with those pesky Gibby defenses. If a team thinks they're safe, well, think again, because you can shoot her Riot Drill right at the bubble and force them to cower in a very small section of the bubble or risk taking tons of damage. Players will often panic, taking extra damage or bailing on the bubble, and this can make Maggie a great disruptor for those Gibby comps. Her ultimate also has a ton of cool uses, and she's barely been out for a day yet. Chucking the Wrecking Ball across an open field your team is looking to push, or into a fight you're looking to clean up, is a great way to get there fast and enter with a bang. However, this ultimate gets really scary in enclosed spaces. If you throw it into a building, it'll bounce all over the place, causing all kinds of mayhem for the people inside. If it hits someone, it'll blow up, only dealing 20 damage, but doing a large knockback on them. If it doesn't hit anyone, then it will keep bouncing around, clearing out a section of the building and laying down all kinds of speed pads. This can be great for creating space in a building before pushing in, and the speed boost allows you to charge in very quickly. Speaking of quick, don't sleep on how powerful her passive shotgun speed bonus is. The ability to sprint at full speed with a weapon at the ready is pretty insane and allows her to push really quickly without needing to put herself at risk by not having a gun at the ready. This also just speeds up how fast you can pull off a good slide jump or other sprint maneuvers with a gun in your hands. Alright, for the rest of this video, let's go over some big tips I think everybody should know as they pick up Maggie. While we are likely to see all kinds of new tech pop up with her over the next few months, here are some must-know tips to master the legend off of release. This one might seem obvious, but in case it isn't, you should look to use shotties whenever you can. Not only does Mad Maggie want to get up close and personal, she also has that speed boost that we talked about earlier. If you're reaching a late game situation and you're gonna be fighting at long ranges, then obviously don't pick up a shotty. But if you get your hands on a Mastiff or PK early in a game, then wreak some havoc. Moving on to a big tip with her ultimate, use it often. The cooldown is only 90 seconds, meaning you can get quite a few of these off in a game. If you're running into a fight and want some extra speed, or even escaping a bad situation, just throw it out. Especially while learning a new legend, the last thing you want to do is overhoard your abilities. Look for creative angles to bounce this thing into fights, and find useful instances for the speed buff for your squad. If you see a decent opportunity to get used to the Wrecking Ball, then let it rip. While Maggie's scan is nothing compared to Bloodhound or Crypto, that little bit of info can actually go a long way. Let's say you peek an enemy, deal some damage, and then go back into cover. This little scan can not only help you be aggressive with perfect info, but it can also give you some insight into what players' plans are. Were they backing up to heal? Did they start pushing your way as the scan fell off? These types of information can help you come out on top in fights and better predict enemy action. Don't sleep on this passive just because it doesn't last very long. Pay attention to every single second of scans that you have and use them to make better decisions. Now, for her tactical, you don't want to be using it carelessly due to the long cooldown. However, you should look to lead most fights with it. It does great damage, and if you see an opportunity to push an enemy out of cover or third party a Gibby bubble, you should always look to use it. Going down without trying to get some type of use out of her ability damage should almost never happen. Think of this ability like Fuse's kit. While she is much faster than Fuse, you want to get the most out of your damage that's built right into your abilities. If you aren't getting any damage or scan info from your drill, you're missing out on a lot of value for Maggie's kit. My final tip for Maggie off of one day of playing is remember you don't really have escape tools. While you are a really aggressive pick, Maggie doesn't have a Wraith phase or an Octane stim to look to book it out of danger. The extra speed while holding a shotty is nice, and you can use her ball to run from danger, but once you're in a fight, you are in there. You have plenty of tools to bust your way in, but not a whole lot of ways to save yourself if things go wrong. This is needed, or else she would have been even more powerful than she is, but understanding this limitation of hers is very important. If you overcommit to a fight, you don't really have any way to back out except winning the fight and hoping for some help from your squad. So, be cautious when committing to fights, play your life effectively, and when opportunities open up, be aggressive and lead the charge. Overall, Maggie is a very powerful legend that relies heavily on your own decision making and movement in the game. The Shotty passive frees her up to stay mobile with a gun in hand, allowing players with good movement to make the most of this. Her abilities offer mobility to her team, damage to enemies, and a short scan on this damage for extra info gathering. Overall, she is in a great state on release and a good option to learn if you're wanting to do well in Season 12. With Olympus being the ranked map for this split, its open, flat ground will give her plenty of good use for her ult and allow her to dominate by foot. With Mad Maggie arriving in Apex, I for one am excited to see how a new aggressive pick shapes the meta. She's already entering the game in a really strong spot. And if you're one of the players who figures out how to play her effectively or against her, you will have a great start to Season 12. As always guys, it's been your boy Valued. Let me know in the comments down below which part of Maggie's kit is your favorite. Good luck in Season 12, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.